of demand in simple terms is nothing but your price and quantity demanded relationship, and it is a inverse relationship. Okay, inverse relationship, that means if the price increases, your quantity demand decreases. If the price decreases, the quantity demand increases. Okay, now there are a few assumptions to it. I told you first assumption is, what is the first assumption? What is the first?
Constant.
Yes, other than price, everything else is constant. Okay, your taste and preferences, they do not change. There is no change in the income of consumers. Price of related goods remain unchanged, and there are no expectation of price change in future. Okay, we are in law of demand only studying the relationship between price and quantity demanded of a normal good. Okay, so the statement simply says the amount demanded increases with a fall in price and diminishes with a rise in price. Okay, or if you have to write it in your own words, this was given by Alfred Marshall. You can write that the law of demand states, if you want to write, you can write it down. Please put yourselves on mute. Meet, simmer, some background noises coming. Meet, simmer. There is a lot of different disturbance coming. Okay, so you can write it in simple terms as law of demand states that there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded, assuming all other things as constant. Okay, write down if you want to write down. It is not there in the book. I've just given it to you.
Ma'am, can you repeat?
Ma'am, what is, yes ma'am.
Write it down to repeat it. The law of demand states that keeping all other things constant, there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Okay,
Constant.
keeping all other things constant, there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So when you start explaining law of demand, you will first start with assumptions, then you will write the statement. Unless it is mentioned you have to give this person's statement, you can write the statement also. Okay, or you can pick up any of the statement given by Marshall or Bilas, anybody, write the statement and then start explaining it with the help of a graph, which I am going to explain to you now. Okay, this I have picked up from your book only. This is given on page 2.3. Oh, sorry, page 47, figure 2.3. Okay, they have given a demand schedule. Now, these demand schedules that are given, please understand that these are hypothetical demand schedules. Okay, they are not actual. You can make your own demand schedule. The only thing you have to keep in mind, as price increases, your demand should. Now, this is the demand schedule that is given to you. The price, you can see that it is decreasing. Okay, let me go in for a slideshow. Okay, so you can see that there is a price decrease 10,8,642, and the quantity demanded accordingly increases 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Okay, this is the demand schedule given. Now, according to this demand schedule, they have plotted a graph. Okay, now what they have done is, and I have told you always on the x-axis you will take a quantity demanded. Okay, that is in units, and this y-axis, it is showing you your price. Okay, now they have divided it because it was in 2 so 1 centimeter they have taken as 2, 4, 6, and 8 on x-axis, and price also they have taken in the same way. Okay, 2, 4, 6, and 8. Slide shows not working. Okay,
Ma'am, why is not 2 and 4 there on the upper part?
They're just showing you three demand schedule. You can show all 2 or 4 also. You can see they have given that much gap. So here is 2, here is 4. Okay, because they are, when explaining this demand, they are only dealing with these prices. That is why they are not shown, but they have left the place. Okay, but when you draw a graph, you show. Is it
Okay.
clear to you?
I have doubt.
Yes.
Ma'am, in the previous graphs, we had the variables were straight. It was A, B, C, D. And in this, it's D, B, A, C.
That's okay. That is your wish, whatever names you give to each consumer. We were taking three graphs at that time, so we were giving ABC. Now whether you keep it BAC or you keep it CAB, that is up entirely up to you. But when you explain the graph, you have to use the proper points that you have yourself used. Only thing that you have to keep it in mind is DD is always a demand curve. Okay, whenever you see a demand curve, when it is individual demand curves, they write it as small dd. See, you can see the capital D written here. This is
Yes, ma'am.
showing the demand curve. Okay, so DD is always demand curve. Other
Ma'am,
than that, you keep it XYZ, you keep it PQR, that is up to you. Yes.
ma'am, so on the Y, the this point of
0.
Y and this point of X, we always write D and D there if it's demand, and
Yeah.
if it will be supply, it will be S and
S
S.
and S. Yes. When we
Okay.
learn the supply curve, it will be S and S. Okay. So it is clear to you. This is demand curve and this is the supply curve. Now let's just explain this demand curve. Okay. So first thing you have to write is, when you are explaining, diagrammatic explaining, when you are given, you have to tell what is what. Okay. So the first thing is quantity demanded is on the X axis. Second point is price is on the Y axis. DD is your demand curve. Okay. And in this, your DD curve is sloping downwards from left to right. Okay. Demand curve, a normal demand curve always slopes downwards from left to right. These points are clear to you?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Now see, suppose first we'll take an increase in price. Okay. From 8, it has increased to 10. Okay. So at 8, your quantity demanded was what? 6. You can see the cursor moving.
Hmm.
Yes. At 8, your quantity demanded was 6. Okay. Now the price has increased from 8 to 10. So at 10, your quantity demanded is 4. It has decreased. Yes. Okay. Now you go to decrease in price. From 8, it has come to 6. The price has decreased from 8 to 6. So your quantity demanded has increased from 6 to 8. Okay. Is it clear to all? This is your basic explanation of a demand curve. Okay. A normal demand curve always slopes downwards from left to right, and this is how you're going to explain. Okay. Now, why does this happen? Why a demand curve is always downward sloping? Okay, there are reasons for it. We are going to study those reasons. Now, first reason is law of diminishing marginal utility. Now tell me, you have learned utility in 9th standard?
Yeah, marginal utility also.
Yes, you have learned marginal utility also. Now, what is marginal utility?
Ma'am, marginal utility is the net addition to the total utility.
Yes, net addition when you consume one more unit of that substance. The addition that happens to the total utility is your marginal utility. Okay. Have you studied the law of marginal utility?
No. No,
No?
ma'am.
Okay, then I will tell you. The law of marginal utility states that as you have additional units of that substance, okay, the utility that you derive out of it decreases with each additional unit. I'll explain to you with an example. You're very hungry, okay, you start eating your food. The first, second, third bites that you have partially satisfies your hunger. Okay. Sorry, I was disconnected. partially satisfies your hunger. Okay, so first, second, and third. Then when you take the fourth bite, your satisfaction level little goes down. Why? Because the first, second, and third parts have already satisfied your hunger, part of it. So you're not that hungry now. Is it clear? Yes. So that is why it is said, when you have additional units of it, when you consume additional units of a substance, that marginal utility, that is utility that you derive out of each additional unit, decreases. Okay, as it was in the first time, it is not that much in the third, fourth time. Okay, this is the law of marginal diminishing unity. Now, because you get lower utility with each additional thing that you consume, you will not want to spend more money on it. You will buy that commodity only when it is at a lower price. Yes or no? When that substance's utility has decreased for you. Okay, initially it was that much that you were. Yes, Arya.
Ma'am, what what are the reasons, like for what topic these reasons we are doing? I'm a little confused.
Law of demand. Why does the law of demand exist?
Okay, sorry.
Why is your demand curve downward sloping from left to right? These are causes for that. Okay, now, so when you are consuming additional units, with additional units, it is bringing you decreasing utility. Okay, so it is a natural, what do you say? It will be natural for you to prefer to buy this additional unit at a lower price. You will not be ready to give higher price for it. Okay, so that is why law of diminishing marginal utility is one of the reasons why your demand curve is sloping downwards. Okay, then second is the income effect. Now, income effect, we have said that all things are equal, all things are constant, in that income also becomes constant. Okay, in this income effect, I am not talking about increase in your income as such, that is, if your income was 100 rupees, it has now increased to 150. Not that income effect. I am talking about the real income effect. What is your real income effect? Now go back to this demand schedule again. Now, when the price was 10, you were able to buy 2 units of a substance. Okay, when the price reduced to 8, okay, you have more money to buy the same thing. Your
Yes, ma'am.
your income as such has not increased. If it was 100 rupees, it is still 100 rupees. Okay, but when the price of that good has fallen down from 10 to 8, you have more money left with you to buy more of that stuff. This is known as real income. Okay, so when the price goes down, your real income increases, which gives you a benefit of buying more goods. Okay, that is why with a decrease in price, you buy more goods. And when the same happens, when opposite happens, your price rise from 8 to 10 reduces your real income. Okay, and when that means your buying power, your buying capacity reduces. Okay, this does not mean that your actual income has increased or decreased. Your income is constant, but your real income, that is the money that you have in your hand to spend, that increases or decreases with price. Okay, so that is how, when you have real income, increase in real income, you buy more of goods. When you have a decrease in real income, you buy less of goods. This income effect is clear to you? Income effect is clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
there's no,
ma'am.
all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, there was a question, I think, on this income effect only as such. Okay, so this becomes a two, when it's a 2 marks question, 3 marks question, you will explain it with the help of an example. Okay, now the example that is given in the book, I will give you that example only. The example they have given is a consumer buys 2 liters of milk at a price of rupees 50 per liter. Okay, so he can spend 100 rupees on 2 liters. Okay, now if the price, suppose falls from 50 to 40 rupees. Okay, he was buying milk at 50 rupees, so he was buying 2 liters of it. Now when the price falls from 50 to 40, he can buy the same 2 liters at 80 rupees now. Yes or no?
Yes.
So he is left with 20 rupees balance. Okay, this is increase in his real income. He is now left with more money to spend. Okay, and that is why he then decides to buy more of quantity. Remember, we have said that all other things are constant. So we are just seeing the relation between price and quantity demanded. That is why when his real income increases, he buys more of milk. Okay, and the opposite will happen if now if the price of milk increases from 50, it goes to 60 rupees. So when he was spending 100 rupees on 2 liters, he has to now spend 120 rupees, which obviously that 20 rupees he doesn't have. He still have 100 rupees only. So he will reduce his quantity demanded. Okay, clear to all?
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, Arya.
Ma'am, so what is the difference between income and real income? Like real income is
Real
like
income is what purchasing power you are left with. Okay, in this your monetary income has not increased. It was 100 rupees, it is 100 rupees only.
yeah.
We will study the income effect also in ahead when we are learning about the demand curve in more detail. Okay,
Okay.
this we have already assumed that all other things are constant. We said in the assumption income does not change. See, there is no change in income of consumers. So what money they are getting, they have the same. This real income changes is that their purchasing power changes with the increase or decrease in price. Okay, they have either more money to spend now or less money to spend. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
now the third effect is substitution effect. Okay, now this substitution effect is also, there is no change in the income as such. Okay, but if the substitutes if suppose substitutes, we have seen tea and coffee or Coke and Pepsi. Okay, now if the price of Coke increases, your price of its substitute, that is Pepsi, that has remained constant, it has not changed. But because from 20 rupees the price of Coke has gone to 30 rupees, in comparison to Coke, Pepsi has become cheaper. Yes, the price of Pepsi has not changed, but comparing it with Coke, Pepsi has become cheaper. Yes or no? And substitutes are those things which can be easily substituted for each other, right? They can be replaced with each other. So when the price of Coke goes up, you easily substitute, because the substitute has become cheaper in comparison to the commodity, you replace it with that commodity. Clear? Substitution effect is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Arya, Krishna, substitution
Yes,
effect is
ma'am.
clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here also we are talking about the real, it becoming cheaper not because your income has increased or in comparison to the other good, its substitute, it has become cheaper or dearer. Okay. Increase in price or decrease in price. So this is your substitution effect. Now change in number of buyers. Now change in number of buyers whenever the price of a good falls. Okay, let's take the example of milk only. If milk was at 50 rupees per liter, it falls to 40 rupees per liter. There can be people who were not able to afford milk at 50 rupees. But when milk fell down to 40 rupees, they were able to afford it. Okay, so that increases the number of buyers. So demand increases. Okay, the quantity demanded increases when there is fall in price. Now if it again from 40 it raises back to 50, nobody's income has changed, it's only because of the price effect their real income changes. So those people who were able to afford it at 40 rupees will not be able to now afford it at 50 rupees. Okay, so that is change in number of buyers. Clear? This is also clear. Now
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
last point is your different uses. Okay, a substance I have told you has many uses. Okay, for example, milk only. Milk you use for drinking. You use it for making curd, for cheese, for your sweet dishes, for tea, butter. All these things are multiple uses of milk. Okay, so when milk was standing at 50 rupees per kg, you're most important, because utility also you arrange in order of your preference. The first necessity is first completed, then you go into the next. Okay, so when your first necessity was that you have to give milk, you have to use it for drinking. Okay, so at rupees 50 you were using milk only for drinking purpose. Now when it fell down to 40 or say 30, at 40 rupees I can use milk for curd also, because drinking I needed only 2 liters. So I can buy at 40 rupees, 80 rupees. I'm still left with 20 rupees. I can use that money to buy extra milk, so that now I can use it for curd also. So my use of the second priority that I had also is satisfied. Okay, if milk further falls down, prices further falls down at 30 rupees. At 30 rupees now I have more money, more real income left with me, where I can use it for butter also. I can use it for drinking purpose. That my requirement was solved. Now I second my curd, that is also done. Now I can use it for butter also. Okay. So that is how different uses also determine कि you buy more quantity at lesser prices and less quantity at more price. Now all these causes are clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I told you when we were starting with demand curve is applicable to normal goods. Okay, there are few exceptions to it where this demand law does not work. The first exception is Giffen goods. Okay, now Giffen goods are, yesterday I told you, they are special kind of inferior goods in which when the price increases, the quantity demanded also increases. So it is not an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded, but a direct relationship between price and quantity demanded. Okay, so this curve will start from 0 and rise upward. All of you have your books in your hands.
Yes, ma'am.
Turn to page 55. You can see a curve shown there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, a rising curve.
55.
Page 55.
Yes.
Yes, a question, short type answer question. You can see a curve shown there, a rising curve. Yes, it is a demand curve. So
Yes,
for your
ma'am.
Giffen goods, your demand curve is like this. It is a direct relationship between price and quantity demanded. Okay. So as your price increases, your quantity demanded increases. Now, why does this happen for Giffen goods? Giffen goods are, I told you, they are special type of inferior goods. Okay, and these are prevalent mostly in your lower income group. Okay, this was first observed by Sir Robert Giffen during the early 19th century. What he observed was uh, when the price of bread increased, instead of buying less of bread, people started buying more of bread in the lower income group. Okay, why? Because bread had become cheaper than other food substitutes, that is mutton and fish, which was still expensive for them. So what they did was, when bread became cheaper, they bought more quantity of it. Okay, such goods are known as Giffen goods, wherein they have a direct relationship with price. Quantity demanded has a direct relationship with price, and because it was observed by Sir Robert Giffen, these are known as Giffen goods. Okay, this is clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Because for a lower income group, maximum of their income goes into food intake. So if something becomes cheaper, they will buy more of that quantity rather than going in for the expensive or costlier things. Okay, so Giffen goods is clear to you?
Yes.
Second is your prestige goods. Okay, now these prestige goods, they are of a higher income, they are for higher income people, which are basically bought to satisfy your greed to display. Okay, they have a lot of money with them. So their desire to display is satisfied only when they buy more and more of expensive things. Yes, one car comes in, another costlier version of it comes, people go for that. Yes, one model of phone, it's obsolete. In 6 months, another model comes which is costlier. You will go for that one. At this, I am talking about the rich people. Okay, so in that, these are known as prestige goods. Okay, wherein they get satisfaction by displaying of those goods. In this also, because their desire is not satisfied, they will not go. They go for this only when the price increases. They increase the demand for it. Okay, when the price decreases, since their satisfaction is not achieved, they will not buy it, or they will reduce the quantity demanded. Prestige goods are clear. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
third is ignorance by consumers. Most often we are ignorant. Most often people think, it's a normal thinking, that if a good is highly priced, it is better in quality. Okay, so that is why people used to go for more imported things, because they think it is highly priced, it is imported, so it is of better quality. This ignorance also is an exception. When your price increases, you demand more of that quantity. You think because the price has increased, it is of better quality, so I should buy more of it. Okay, and last is your necessities. Necessities are your food, clothing, these things, food grains, your fruits and vegetables, salt. These are your necessities of life. Even if the price of these necessities increase, you are not going to cut down your demand marginally to a bigger margin. Some things you might substitute for something. Onion, if you were using 2 kgs, you might take it to 1.5, but not decrease it totally. Okay, food is something which you cannot decrease. So even if the price keeps on increasing of necessities, you will not reduce the demand for it. Is it clear?
Hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So all the causes and all the exceptions are clear for you. Now
Yes, ma'am.
your homework for today is page 55, question number 6 only. Explain the following diagram with reference to the concept of given goods. Okay, I have told you why it is a direct price demand relationship. Okay, which is a exception to the law of demand. So you will explain this good, why it is a direct relationship and not a inverse relationship. Clear? Okay. Now we have next topic. We have finished with this. Now we have learned the law of demand. Now there are various changes in law of demand. Okay, how these changes happen and why these changes happen. Change in demand. Everybody can see this? Change in demand, children?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, just wait. Why I cannot see it? Where is my Zoom? Share. Wait, I'm giving you a sharing. Changes in demand. Now you can see? Now you can see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, changes in demand. Okay, now what is changes in demand? There are two types of changes in demand that can happen when we are seeing these curves. Okay, two types. One type we have done now, when the price changes, how the demand shifts, how the quantity demanded shifts on the same curve. Okay, it was shifting up and down only. Another type of shift is when you keep price as constant and take into consideration all the other factors. What were all the other factors? Your taste and preference can change, your income can change. Okay, what else were there? What else was there
What,
in
ma'am?
other factors other than price? Taste and
Income.
preferences can change, your income can change, your
Ma'am,
price of
population.
substitute good can change. Okay, whatever other factors we had learned which influence the demand function. Okay, So we will learn when the price changes and all other things remain same. And another way we are going to learn when price is constant and all other factors change. Okay, these two are clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Children, put your microphone on mute. Lot of disturbance coming. Okay, shall we start? So the first is price of the commodity. We are going to see a relationship between quantity demanded and price of the commodity, which is movement along the same curve. There is only one demand curve and it is a change in that demand only. Okay, but when we go for all factors other than price, the entire demand curve shifts. So instead of one demand curve, you get two demand curves. Okay, now we'll see this graphically. First part we have already learned, when all other factors are kept constant and only price is changed. Okay, so it has two parts. One is expansion of demand and second is contraction of demand. Okay, remember these because you will have to explain it in this way only. So first is change in quantity demanded. This is when there is a change in price, all the other things are kept constant. Okay, so in first we'll study the expansion of demand. This means that there is a rise in quantity demanded because there is a fall in price. Okay, we are seeing only relationship between price and quantity demanded. So there is a rise in quantity demanded because there is a fall in price. All other factors are constant for us. Okay, this is the assumption in expansion of demand. Okay, so in this case there is only one demand curve for us and there is movement along the demand, that same demand curve. Okay, the example, this is the demand schedule given to you. All of you can see this. If it is not clear, you can see page number 49. Okay, this is the demand schedule given to you at a price of 5, 10 units of quantity demanded, and at a price of 3, when it falls to 3, the quantity demanded is 20 units. Okay, now see the graph. Same thing has been plotted on the graph. DD is your demand curve. Okay, your price falls from 5 to 3. Okay, so at 5, your quantity demanded was here at 10. When it fell down to 3, your quantity demanded becomes 20. Okay, so this is a downward movement on the same demand curve. Okay, this is known as a downward movement on the same demand curve, and this is known as expansion of demand. Your demand in the market has expanded. You require now more quantity. Okay, so the quantity demanded in the market has increased. This is clear expansion of demand for you? Children, expansion of
Yes,
demand
ma'am.
is clear to you? Okay,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
second situation is contraction of demand. Contraction of, what happened, Arya?
I'm finding this a bit confusing.
What happened? This is the same that we have learned just before when we had kept all other things constant and we were just seeing the relationship between price and quantity demanded. Okay, this is basically your law of demand only. Okay, basically your law of demand only. When I have told you only you are seeing price and quantity demanded, all other things are kept unchanged. Okay, so when you keep all other things unchanged, as your price decreases, your quantity demanded should increase. This is a hypothetical scenario that has been given to you. Okay, at 5 rupees, 10 units are demanded. At 3 rupees, 20 are demanded. And the same thing has been plotted on a graph. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So this explanation is also like this only. When your price falls from 5 to 3, your quantity demanded increases from 10 to 20. Okay. So your demand curve has not changed. The price has changed and your quantity demanded has changed. This is expansion of demand, downward movement on the same demand curve. Okay. The opposite effect is on the contraction of demand.